Hislatha and cha isquis chastenma and chaspaus talichast. Hello, my friends, and welcome to today's Power Hour with the Native Wellness Institute. Today, I have a very special guest. She's one of my friends that I have known since the 90s, which brings us back quite a few years.
Just a few.
and but first of all, I just want to welcome you all. And we do power hours, and this is our 60th week of power hours. Can you guys believe that? That's so crazy that we've been doing this for 60 weeks. And yesterday I listened to Robert's power hour about stress and just taking care of yourself. And so I'm really honored today to have with me my sister, Eileen. And Eileen, I'm just going to let you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are. And today we're going to be talking about divorce and moving forward from divorce, which is a really important topic. It's a really big topic, and a lot of people go through separations and divorces, and it impacts the whole family. It impacts the children, sometimes even the community. So anyway, so Eileen, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Dagot Eshi, Eileen Crocker Onse, Ashley, Nikaya Bashchi, Zithakaisa and Ashley, Chilwaj, Bichayunasha. That's my pageant intro. My name is Eileen Crocker. I am from the beautiful White Mountains of Arizona. I'm White Mountain Apache, and I am very happy to be here. I am of the Mesquite people clan, born for the Mexican people clan, and I am a mother of four. I have four amazing children. I have six beautiful, amazing goddaughters, traditional Apache goddaughters. And I am the youngest of five. Both my parents are beyond the veil. I work for my education department as a JOM program coordinator, and I'm a youth council advisor, and I'm a Queen's mom. My daughter is Miss White Mountain Apache Queen. I have so many hats. I'm also a Zumba instructor. I can't forget that. I love doing Zumba. I'm a Zumba instructor. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well, awesome, Eileen. It's so good to have you here today. And for some people who might not know, Eileen and I met through Unity. So I'm an Earth Ambassador through Unity, and Eileen is an Earth Ambassador through Unity. So we've connected our entire lives through the organization called Unity. And Eileen has this very outgoing, happy, amazing personality, and from the time I've known her and seen her grow into the mother she is, into the wife, and to the youth council advisor. I mean, she's just a ball full of energy. Reminds me of myself and my energy, and just like blah blah, and
That's probably why we connected, because our energy just kept coming to each other.
Yes. Well, we definitely have that same kind of energy. And so, one of the things I was thinking about today as we were going to get started is I just want to offer a prayer today for all of the families who have gone through divorce, to all of the families, all of the children, because I know even my own children had such a hard time when their dad and I separated. And it's just a really hard thing to go through. And so I just want to start us off today, Eileen, with some smudge, and I'll just virtually smudge all of you. And I just want to ask that the creator, Colin Sutton, will just speak through us and will just guide us today as we gather in this virtual world to talk about separation and divorce, and the impacts it has on our families. And I just ask, creator, that you would just wrap your arms around all of those who are struggling, all of those who are hurting, all of those who feel alone, who don't know what to do. Maybe they're in a relationship and they want to get out of that relationship. Maybe we don't know what our people are struggling with, but today we just start off in a good way, and we offer this smudge. And just ask that the Creator will be with us, that He'll walk with us, eat with us, be in our hearts and our minds and our spirits today. Lim lim shkukuts katsiayai, for this beautiful day, for coming together on this virtual space. Holy lim. So I just, it's, we start everything with a prayer, and the last few power hours, like I haven't been starting with a prayer, and so I just wanted to make sure we did that. It was such an honor, and it was such a blessing to get to see you a few weeks ago when we went to Oklahoma and we got to spend time together. And I think it was, while we were in Oklahoma, and we were together, that I realized, there are so many people who struggle with divorce and separation, and just listening to you tell us about it, and you even created a TikTok, where you have almost 8,000 followers, or people who view your story, because you're healing. And so as you're healing, Eileen, you're helping other people heal. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about, you know, how did you come to, our first, how long were you guys married, and where did you meet, and how many children, and talk a little bit about the beginning stages.
Okay, so um whew, many years ago. Isn't that how most native stories go? In Apache, we say Dunina, a long time ago. And it was a long time ago. Oh my gosh, I was 21 years old. And I met well, I was friends with his cousin, and his cousin brought me home to meet the grandparents. Well, I knew them, and the grandfather said, and I love this story, and I'll always love it, is that the grandfather came out and said, "You should meet my grandson." And the cousin made Justin come out. He was hesitant because the grandpa said, "This is my grandson. You can have him." And from then on, that's like how we started talking. We met, we became friends first. We were very good friends. We talked all night long. We grew up together. We were both 21 years old. He had a daughter already, and the backstory of that is I met the baby first. He wasn't with the mother anymore, but I saw her at my dad's funeral, and I told her, I'll always love you. I met you before I met your dad, and so she's always going to be a part of me. And we met 2 years later. We got married. 2 years after that, we had Makanalani, and we were married for 22 years, almost 6 months shy of 22 years. And from our marriage, we had Makanalani, who is now 22. We have Kelly Iokalani, who is 16, and Kui Pokalani, who is 12. And the out of nowhere, coming from the backstory of everything, my baby, who is now 4, and she's Kamalani Onamanakea. And she, I believe, was truly God sent a blessing, because I think she has been our strength going through all of this, because she's a baby. She has no idea what's going on and anything. So she keeps us grounded in all the decisions that we've had to make all this whole time. But the realization of deciding on becoming a single mother, which is something I never wanted to be, growing when I first got married. You don't get married to get divorced. You really have high expectations for what you want, but you're bringing two people in this, two different backgrounds, two different families, two different personalities, two different upbringings. And um, it was soon after the baby was born that I decided to get divorced. And I won't speak about why.
How old were you when you had the little baby? You were,
I
it was
was 43.
43.
43 years old. So we're both 47. Well, I'm 47. He's 48. I'll be 48 next month. I love that I'm younger than him, because he does look younger, and people thought I was older than him. Whatever. But I'm younger than him by like 3 months. But yeah, I was 43 when I had Kamalani, and she was, like I said, just out of the clear blue sky. I mean, I did have 2 miscarriages before her, but it was after she was born, because the idea and the wonder and the worry of not knowing what's going on in my life and my family and everything around me started happening before she was born. When I was pregnant with her, honeymoon, I loved it. I loved being taken care of. I was babied. I was all of that. And then as soon as she was born, the rocky road began again. And it was just a domino effect. Everything that was being that was happening around me, it was like a everything falling. And I I confronted it, and that's the one thing that I really feel that I was the turning point was, I prayed about it. And that's one thing you have to always involve our Heavenly Father in your decisions. And I remember my friend, who we both know, Kealoha Duma Alo, she told me, you have every right to revelation. You have every right to ask Heavenly Father if you are doing the right thing. So I remember that conversation. And so, in earnest, in full confidence and full wanting to know what to do, I prayed about it. Heavenly Father, please let me know what I need to do. Heavenly Father, please guide me in this decision. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Please take care of my kids. And as soon as I prayed that, within a day, I would say, I would hear songs on the radio, the words to these songs. I would hear different conversations around me, like over here. I would get text messages of things that he was doing, and I was getting messages, and all these, it was just like coming at me like swords and daggers. And the decision to end my marriage was very personal. It was something that I had to own up to decide and to really go through with it, because I couldn't be wishy-washy with something like this. This is my life. This is what I wanted. I wanted the fairy tale. I wanted happily ever after. I wanted to someday celebrate my 50th anniversary. I wanted my kids to see us grow old together. But in hindsight, when I really think back at it, I think I'm the only one that had that vision. And this is just me talking. I cannot say what he thought. I cannot say what he felt. I cannot even acknowledge what he was going through when I was going through this, because that's when I say it was a very personal decision, is that I knew what I felt. I knew what I was thinking, and I knew where I was going to take responsibility for what I was doing. So 2 years after, 2 years, when Kamalani turned 2, is when I started the paperwork. And I hear stories now of how people have filed for divorce and they're waiting for months and months and months, or years even. And because I prayed about it, because we did our, when we did our paperwork, me and my kids' dad, we grew up together. We were in our 20s together, our 30s together, our 40s together. And so when the decision became mutual, he he accepted it. He did not fight me for it. He did not contradict or do anything to keep me out of not making this decision. So when I did the paperwork, I got the tribal paperwork for a divorce that was 2 pages. It all benefited me because I'm the tribal member. He was not a tribal member. And I saw it. I couldn't do that in my own. And this is me. This is Eileen. I don't know anybody else that would feel this way, but I'm like, I can't do that to him because he's my kids' dad. I couldn't. So I researched. I think I pulled up Google and just Google divorce papers. And our divorce papers, I think, is about 14 pages long. And it covers like so much because I'm the one that researched and Googled and figured out what we needed to cover if this were to happen, when this were to happen. So we had to initial it all. We took it to the bank and got it notarized. And I have always loved him. I'll always be friends with him. And he says, look at this page on page 3. It says I can still give her hickeys. And I'm like, you're so crazy. And then the person doing the paperwork, she was like, I've never seen anyone come in here with divorce papers and get along like you guys get along. They never knew. When we first got divorced, I told him, I said,
So Eileen, so I think one of the things. So what happened? Like when you say, it was rocky, or what you did, like what happened to cause the divorce?
I I felt like I was forgotten. I felt like I wasn't needed, loved, appreciated. I felt I was taken for granted. I felt the baby was here now. I just, I honestly felt the disconnect. There was no connection, and there wasn't a bond anymore. Like, we had the baby, yes, but he moved. He wasn't a part of anything that he wasn't in the fairy tale of holding my hand during the day or being there for me or talking to me, or that image of having a baby and having a life. There was a disconnect, and I felt it and I knew it and I couldn't deny it. So yeah, I it's just intuition. You feel it. And that's one thing that I think a lot of people push that away, when that is something that's that's what you should believe first, is your intuition, because somewhere it's coming from somewhere, because no one else can see it or feel it or touch it. It's happening between you and Heavenly Father. It's like you, it's like it was inside. And that's what I felt. I felt the disconnect. I felt the feelings weren't there anymore. I felt no compassion. I felt all of that. It was a literal disconnect. And going back to the whole process, I turned in my paperwork. We got it notarized, turned in the paperwork one week, got my court date the next week, had my court hearing the next week, got my court documents the fourth week. In 4 weeks, I was divorced.
So
I
once
got,
you
I
became
got
divorced,
my name back and everything.
so once that final, where were you when that all happened? Like you found out you were divorced.
So you mean my divorce hearing?
Yeah, so you actually went through the hearing.
I went to court, and it was strange because the judge was actually a former boss of my kids' dad. And he did not, he felt bad because he saw us as a couple. In his profession, he knew both of us. And he said, "I'm so sorry that you guys are here. I wish this wasn't happening." And he was very compassionate about what was going on. And we did both share our piece. And I said, "I just couldn't do it anymore. This is my decision." And I did pay for it. And I got my name back. That was the big thing. I got my maiden name back. And it was just like the gavel. It was just like it was a surreal moment. But I did that and I went back to work. And I am an advisor for the youth council. And that's the thing about what connects LoVina and I, is this beautiful spirit of unity. Because if I didn't have that youth council and my job that as I advise these young kids, if I didn't have that, where would I have gone after my divorce hearing? Me and my kids' dad hugged and cried, and it was just like, it was a moment, it's done. And I went back to work. And I went back to work to where my youth council was having a training with Robert Johnston and Josh So. And it was just like surreal. I was like, okay, I'm divorced. And Robert had the kids sing an Apache song. And I sat in a chair. Oh my gosh, this made me cry. I sat in a chair, and he had every youth council member come up behind me and hug me and whisper in my ear and tell me what they thought of me. And only I heard it because they whispered. And they said things like that I inspire them, that they look up to me, and that they are grateful for me. And some really shared such amazing messages to me that helped me remember who I am. And see, that's the thing about divorce, is that when you disconnect from this life you had, this image of whatever life you're trying to have with this other person, when you get divorced, it's like disconnected. And so you have to go back to remembering who you are, remembering the person that you were born to be. And I feel like in the last 2 years, in June, it's going to be 2 years. In the last 2 years, I've had to revisit who I was trying to be before I got married, who I was what made me who I am, and pull all those things out, because I'm not married anymore. I don't have the title of wife. I don't have any of that anymore. So now I had to become Eileen. And that was why it was very important for me to get my maiden name back, because I I love where I come from. My dad was a councilman. My grandfather was a chairman. And the lineage and the bloodline of who I am is where I had to go back to. I was no longer a wife. And so I had to become me. And so I've noticed, like in the videos that I share on TikTok and the things that I do, is that I am coming back to who I was always meant to be. And
Mhm.
a lot of us do that when we get married. We kind of push away what we wanted to become or what dreams we had. And it's really sad to say that because I did do that. When I first got married in 1996, I missed like 4 unity conferences. And these are places where I connected with friends, I connected with like-minded women and men who had the same ideals and the skills and everything that I wanted to become. I let that go for almost 6 years until I finally decided, no, I'm going to go back. So I've been going back. I've been at Unity for the last like 20 years now, but it's it is such a personal journey that nobody's divorce divorce path is going to be like mine. And mine is very personal to me because of how it all happened. And I really believe you have to involve Heavenly Father in all of it because I do fall. I do have weaknesses, and on my TikTok, I share it. I honestly cry, and I feel there are triggers that bring me back to that little child of why did my marriage fail? What was wrong with me? What did I do? Why couldn't I make this work? The thing that I struggled about losing my marriage was, what did I do? Where did I go wrong? When I should not even have to ask that, because in my own feeling and everything that I am, I know I didn't do anything wrong. I was very loyal. I tried so hard to be everything I could in a marriage, in a wife. And I don't feel like I failed. And that's something that's hard for me to say because for so long I felt like I failed. I felt like a failure. I felt like it was my fault that I couldn't keep this marriage together.
Yeah.
And
So somebody just asked us, or asked a question about when you came to that point in your life, like, how did you start the self-assessment? Did you do therapy? Did you read? I know you talked about prayer and praying, but was there anything specific that you did um to start that self-awareness, or it's almost like you have to refine yourself. Like
mhm.
you have to, like, because you just need to go back to those, to finding out who you are. But how do you do that, and how did you do that?
So, of course, prayer on top of personal prayer. I got priesthood blessings where I had elders and like father figures come and give me a blessing. And that helped so much. I did a lot of writing, and I haven't opened this book in so long that, journaling, writing and exactly what you're going through. I wrote, and now preparing or looking back for this talk, I read what I went through. This is from 2019, 2 years ago, when I first started to start the process. And when I read it now, I'm just like, wow, what was I thinking? Like, was I really thinking that? And I did write a lot about what I was feeling. I wrote about what I was going through at the time. So a lot of writing, a lot of prayer, a lot of I listen to a lot of books on tape. Like I try to really listen, be more positive about what I'm thinking and feeling, because it's so easy to go into that negative mindset of the failure, the all of that, the sadness. And so it's total constant daily retraining of saying, it's okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And I realize after many times that it's okay to cry, because I cried on Mother's Day, which is a few days ago, and I'm only a mother because of him. And I was alone. I seriously was alone that night. During the day I had them, we went to church, we hung out together. But in the evening when my baby was sleeping, they went to go get me flowers, they got me chocolate, they got me cake. And these are my 3 kids, my 3 older kids. But while they were gone, I was here crying. And it really hurt a lot to know the situation that I'm in, because I never got married to get divorced. And I honestly believe that we grew apart, like our goals, our ideas, our attraction to one another maybe wasn't there. And instead of like wasting time and trying to figure out and fix it after so many years of disconnect, it was time. And our marriage ran its course. It did what it was meant to do. I got 4 beautiful babies. I'll never regret the 4 kids that I have. And they're in a span of 20 years, 22 years. And so I cannot say I wish I never got married, or I can't say I wish I never met him, or I can't say I wish I wish I didn't have to go through this. I can't say that because all of those years of good, bad, ugly, fun, triumphs, challenges, all of that gave me 4 amazing, beautiful babies.
Mhm.
And that's something that has really helped me because people don't get that we have to get along because our kids see us. They see us talking, they see us um, being parents to them. I cannot, my kids saw too much and they don't need to see that negativity after the fact.
Mhm. So what
So,
was it that made you so sad on Mother's Day? Like you shared that. So, I want what was it that triggered you? Because sometimes when we go through a divorce or we go through a separation, there's gonna be things that trigger us that will, it's like any other kind of pain and hurt. One thing we might see something, we might hear something, we might hear a song. It might be a song that that you and your partner, that was your song, and it might just make you sad, it might make you angry, it might make you frustrated. I mean, there's all kinds of different emotions that we go through. And I just want to say, like even in our comments, like Valerie St. Pierre said, she was with him for 30 years, and it took her a long time to figure out who she was, and to see life through her eyes and not through his eyes, right? But so there's a lot of people who can relate to this, and just how it feels, and what you went through. But on Mother's Day especially, I think that's such a day when we really are reflecting on our own mothers, but we're also reflecting on how we are as a mother, and how our children see us. And so what was it, Eileen?
so just a little retract, not retract, but my mom passed away. Amazing. She kept our home together. She did everything. She was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked, and I thought of her on Mother's Day because I missed her. And we all cherish our moms. And I remember sitting here in my room and I was thinking, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, mom, I couldn't do that. I couldn't be what you were. And I remember thinking of my dad. I didn't tell my dad I was divorced. He died a month ago, and I never told him for the whole 2 years. And I felt like, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. And I really felt his presence here. But what triggered, and I have to give a disclaimer, is that my kids' dad has since moved on. He has a beautiful girlfriend. She and I do keep in touch, and we've had talks, we've cried together. And I did share with her, leaving Justin, leaving my kids' dad was my choice. It was my choice to leave him, and that's the choice that I'm sticking to. And for her, she's not why, she's not the reason. The trigger was, it was seeing how happy and this is the trigger usually, is seeing that he is dad, happy partner. The triggers are, I once had that, to I never got that, to why couldn't I have that? And I hate thinking that. And like I said, it is a total retraining of your brain, rethinking and coming back, rewinding what you're telling yourself. And our other sister, Pearl, is very big on self-talk, self-love, what you to feel and what you tell yourself. And I felt those things, like why didn't he ever take me to his family? And he did. I had 22 years. Of course I went to his family. Why am I thinking that? 22 why are we alone? What did I do all these other Mother's Days? He was working. And it's just like darts, and it's a tiny fine little pinch, and it stings. And I hate that I'm like that. And I do honestly, I have to now, in this whole regrow relearning and growth of who I am and who I want to be, I have to let go and not think things like that. So I did have a conversation with him last night, and I told him, I'm sorry I think this way, and I'm sorry that this is how I feel, but I feel like I just have to be honest, and it does go away. It does stop eventually. I mean, the moments when I feel these triggers and when I hear songs or see pictures or have a memory that, it wasn't all bad. Our life together, we did so much together in 26 years, the years before we got married. I cannot diminish all the good because of the few bads. But the bads are what the triggers are. The triggers are the little moments when we disagreed, or the moments when he did something bad, or the moment that I did not appreciate what I had. So the triggers are many. They're a lot. But in my retraining and my rethinking, I have to remember it wasn't all bad. We became friends first. We were friends for years before we became a couple. We were a couple before we got married. I mean, we did all the steps. We had kids 2 years after we got married. Who does that? 2 years after was when Makana came. And so their whole retraining and triggers, it's just like, I have to feel it, and I have to cry, and I have to let it go. And I've had comments on my TikTok that says, tears are healing. And I really honestly believe that, because after I cried and I let it out and I realized what I was feeling, I was just like, okay, that's done. Wash my hands of it, move on. And when I talked to him last night, I told him I was sorry. I had to apologize, because this is me. This is me feeling a bad feeling. And I don't want to feel that, especially for this beautiful girl that he's with. And I don't want to feel anything but love for her, because that's just what she deserves. She doesn't deserve negativity. She doesn't deserve hurt. She doesn't deserve malice. She does not deserve ill will. She is just a woman getting to know another man who just happens to have kids with me. And it's not, she does not deserve for me to be angry or hurt or mean to her, because she doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
But
And I think, sometimes, like, and I'm sure that, because you're able to be adult about it, and which that's sometimes hard, right? To be an adult, or to adult about something. But
yes,
when the bottom line is, what's best for our children, how do we have to be able to be respectful of each other, because our children need us to. And and it doesn't go that smoothly for everybody, Eileen. I mean, you're sitting here and you're talking about how great. I mean, you just make it sound like it's actually kind of easy, but I know in reality, like, just having gone through it myself, and the
like I
anger
said, like the
and the
beginning, I
yelling
said,
and the fighting, and like and being upset with the new woman, and saying, like, that woman's not going to be around my kids. And I mean, you get into this like so defensive, and so, like, and
that's
of
what
course
it's
you
a
say that.
personal, it's such a personal journey. I don't know many divorced people, and when I went through divorce, I was like, I don't want anyone to know. I don't want anyone to know that I'm divorced. In my community, I love being in public. I MC events, I coordinate pageants, I'm on the radio for my job. I'm very public. And he's also very public with his job. And so when I first decided this, I said, I don't want no one to know. I don't want no one to know. And be careful what you ask for, because for a year, nobody knew. No one knew that I was divorced. Yes, he was still living in my home because of where he worked. And he slept in the living room on the floor. And nobody knew. Not many of his family didn't know. And here we are 2 years in. And like I said, it's a personal, very, very personal journey. There's a handbook, yes, to say you should do this and you should do that, you should do that. But again, personalities, background, lifestyle, positions, occupations, jobs, upbringing, everything ties into when you should be thinking about all of that when you first get together. You don't think about all those things when you are in love and just want to be together and nothing else can stop us and the world is ours. You know, Looking back, like I said, I can never regret meeting him, and I won't regret ever being married or having kids. But looking back, yes, everything was good, but yes, there was bad. and I didn't want to acknowledge it. I didn't want to, you know, you see me smiling, you see me talking, you see me healing, but there was moments when I broke wedding pictures. There was moments when I broke cell phones when I found something out. There was moments when I almost jumped out of a car, a moving car, because of how hurt I was. And those memories are make me understand and realize that our journey wasn't together, because these are things that happened like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And when you've chunked 22, 26 years together, yes, it's good, as in life, some things are good, some things are bad, some things are good, some, it's like that. But in retrospect of my marriage and what I had to go through, I really had to take responsibility and believe and know that I was making the best decision for me, because indiscretions, infidelity, that can tear anybody apart. And it did to me. And I it took many, many years for me to just accept it and just say, okay, this is this isn't what I want. This isn't what this isn't the life I planned for. And I couldn't do it anymore. And I talked to one of his family, and I love his family. I love all of them. They're so kind to me. They're Some came to my dad's funeral, and I feel bad because it didn't work, because they told me they love me. I'm still the same person. I'm just not in the family.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is a very personal journey.
Well, and we have another question from one of your nieces. It looks like, but she says, you know what? Well, first she says that she's so proud of you, and you are strong and admirable. I was like, get that word. And what advice would you give women who are in a relationship and want a healthy relationship? What kind, so if you could go back to that young woman that you were, um and how do you, like, how do you do that? How do you be, and this is something that you're probably learning, right? Because for 22 years you stayed in a relationship that was unhealthy. And so, I think for many of us as women, we stay in unhealthy relationships because sometimes, for one, we think we can fix the person. We think,
Exactly.
as mom, well, even just as women, we're just fixers. So we're like, oh, I can fix them, I can make them healthy. But the thing, I think one of the hardest lessons you have to learn in life is you can't fix anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
You can't heal anybody, you can't change anybody. You cannot do that. So if that's what you're trying to do, I'm just going to save you the pain and tell you, you can't do that. You can't fix people. You can't change people. You can only change yourself. And you can only be healthy if you work at it. And it's hard work sometimes to be able to recognize your behaviors. Like, there's so many times in a relationship, like, because of my past relationship, in my current relationship, like, I have a fear, I'm afraid to ask my husband, like, that I need to go to Oklahoma and spend time with you guys, or I need to go do this, other thing, or I need, I have that so ingrained in me that I know my husband loves me, and I know he's going to support me, and he's going to say, yes, go if that's what you need to do, but for most of my life, I struggled with that. And so I think, like, we have to, like, you have to start off by just working on yourself. And, so what do you think, Eileen? Like, when somebody's in an unhealthy relationship, but they want a healthy relationship.
Okay, so back, I'm terrified of dating. Terrified. You heard me. I was in Oklahoma. I'm just like, I you have to have a catalog of the universe. And this is in the secret. You have to know the kind of person you want to be with. And who are you not to be worthy of who you feel you deserve. And for me, I had to realize what I deserved. And for me, when I think back of healthy relationships, you need to, and this is something that I've known for so long, but I don't remember it being taught or don't remember anything, but you have a direct connection to God, direct connection to Heavenly Father, who knows you best from head to toe, who knows who you are, what you've been through, where you're going, what you have. So why can't you trust that intuition? You know, how many times have we gone out with somebody and did not like something that they did? For me, it was alcohol. I did not like anyone that was a partier, but my kids' dad drank. And I like kind of, oh, it's okay. It'll be better when we get married. That fantasy. I really, and he's not anymore, just saying, he's been sober for many, many years now. um, Intuition, trust your heart, trust your gut, because your gut really does not lie to you. You know, I've been single now for 2 years and I've had prospects, I've had men want to be a part of my life. But when I feel that twinge in my stomach, like, you know, something's not right, you know, that's coming from somewhere. That's coming from someone who cares and loves you and knows exactly what you need. And you're not going to know exactly what you need unless you pray about it. Constant praying, constant praying. You know, that is the thing that I know is my biggest thing is prayer, because I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to go through heartbreak. I don't want to go through any of that. I like to go through the good stuff, yeah, but the one thing that about being in a health now that I want to be in a healthy relationship is knowing exactly what I'm worth. And everyone has their worth and everyone knows within them, you know, this is, I'm worth this. And it's hard to acknowledge when you're in a bad relationships, because when I thought about, I'm a failure at my marriage, I'm a failure at being a wife, I'm a failure at all of this, that was me not knowing my self-worth. I was a good wife, but I didn't want to tell myself that. I didn't fail, it just broke. It's just something that broke. And so when you want to be in a healthy relationship, the other person needs to know exactly, can't provide that, and they do the same for you and you can't provide it for them. It's unhealthy. It's not connecting. And when the connection is there, I honestly believe that you'll feel it and you'll know it, because you know what it feels like when it's not there. You know what it feels like when it's not right, because you have that voice in the back of your head. But when you're in love and you think it's so perfect and everything's going to be good, that still small voice is what you need to listen to. And we don't want the answer sometimes, especially when we're young. You know, when we're young in our 20s, 30s, you think, you know, it's okay. I'll fix him. It'll be good. I can look past it. And eventually, looking past it, you're going to be right in it or you're going to be apart. And that's just the way it is, I think. And that's, like I said, again, a personal journey. It's personal. Yeah, I'm no expert in it. I'm not saying this is what you got to do, but this is work for me. And being patient and being willing to understand my worth and understand what I deserve has kept me single for the whole 2 years. And I've been busy. I've been working on myself. I do my videos, and that's one thing I've really enjoyed, is sharing bits and pieces of whatever I go through. But knowing what I'm worth, knowing what I deserve, and knowing what I want for myself has honestly kept me single, because anytime I've met somebody, I feel like there was a disconnect and I wasn't going to waste their time and I wasn't going to waste my time, because I'm 47. I'm going to be 50 soon. And I don't have time. I don't have time to be fixing anybody. I don't have time to help you find your path. You know, you should be on a path and I could be on my path, and our path, we could walk together and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I'm excited for it. And I'm not like jumping to everybody or jumping toward anyone just to get that feeling, because I'm not worth it. I'm worth more than that.
Mm. So, and you know, one of the things too is, you know, and this is a hard discussion because, you know, we're talking about divorce and we're talking about separation, and how do, you know, how do the children deal with that? And actually, we actually had one of the people ask how your kids would handle a public dialogue about their personal life, which I don't feel like we've talked a lot about, your kids, but it's more about your story and how you personally have been able to get through this, and how you've been able to just deal with all the emotions, the happiness, the sadness, it just, the anger, the hurt, it just goes, it's just like bounces all over the place. And I think part of a relationship too, when you've been in a relationship for so long, when you separate like that, there's a grief that and loss that you have to go through in order to fully, because it is a loss, it's a huge loss, and so processing through that, and just taking care of yourself, and making sure that you have friends that you can call and you can talk to, like we have our own private chat group with just us as women, it's and we all, whenever one of us is struggling, whenever one of us has a hard time, we can chat, we can like tell each other how we're feeling. We have those friends in our circles that we can go to. And so, having somebody to talk to about what you're feeling and how you're feeling is really important. And that's a big part of self-care, is being able to have friends that you can trust. And I think trust is a big word, because
Tell everybody, yeah, not everybody is your cheerleader, and not everybody is going to support you. And going back to my kids, I've really being with them constantly. I really enjoy one-on-one talks with each of them. Like I will ask them, how do you feel about this? Is this okay? Everything going good? I'll pick up my son and he'll say, yay, mom and son time. Like he knows it's just the two of us. And I love that because he knows that he just has me. And my baby, my daughter as well, she's 14, and she's she'll talk when she needs to talk, but she's usually really quiet. But when I can get her to talk, she does share what she's going through. Um, my oldest, me and her, many know me and Makana get along very well. We try to share everything we need to share. But they don't just have that with me. Their dad takes time to talk with them by themselves. And my daughter will say, Dad came in and talked with me last night. And I said, what did he say? She goes, I don't know. I was crying the whole time. So he was there and he talked, and she doesn't remember what he said, but she knew he loved her. And it's constant, just constantly telling them, we love you regardless of anything. Those are the three oldest ones that we try to keep in contact, talking. The baby, she's 4 and she has no idea. And we don't want her to know. We don't want her to think mom and dad fight. She knows I'm mom. Um, his girlfriend is mommy. So I'm mom, M-O-M, she's mommy, because her kids call her mommy. So in her little 4-year-old mind, she's like, when we were standing outside the house and they were coming to bring something, he comes driving up and she's like, Dad, and she goes, mommy's here. And the first time it was one of those triggers. I was like, ow. And I honestly felt it. And then their dad told me, that's what her kids call her. So that's all she knows. And so as a 4-year-old, I can't get on her, like, and I tease her. I said, who's this? And she's like, Mom. And then we'll talk about it. I said, who's that mommy? And she sees, that's how she is. And we cannot correct her. Who are we to try to do this to a 4-year-old? So we let her be. And
and I just want to say that that is so amazing. Like that, like again, that's being an adult and doing what's best for your children. Because, like, I mean, that would be, as a mother, that would be so hard. But like you just said, you said it perfectly. In her little 4-year-old mind, that lady's sons call her mommy. And so for her, she hears her being called mommy. It's just like I know in one relationship, the dad called his girlfriend babe. And so, so his kids from another lady would call her babe, like, oh, I'm going with babe. But it's like little kids, like they don't understand the complexity of everything that's going on. And you have to always remember that this is all they know. They don't know any different, right? They don't know. And so, when they go to school and they have Mother's Day, or they have, Father's Day, they might have two dads, and they might have two moms, or they might have, however. But it's just, being an adult and being mature for the benefit of your children, so that
Right?
your children don't suffer.
Seriously, you really have to, we're only human. We're so not perfect. I am not perfect. I'll never be perfect. And so when you feel that twinge, or you feel that, that's like the devil, like, say this, say that. Oh, she shouldn't be doing that. Everybody has that, an angel or a devil, like on each shoulder. And who are you going to listen to? And it's always pick your battles, pick your battles. You don't have to go there. It's not worth it. And with the baby, like, he called last night and he talked to her on the phone, and he was like, you go give Makana a kiss for me. We call it Chim because Makana called it Chim as a kid. Go give Kana Chim, give Khalid Chim. And then so she said, where he told her, be a good girl, and she's like, okay. And then she hung up the phone, and she's like, where's dad? And I said, dad's at his home. And it's always his home and our home. So, and she hasn't been comfortable enough to stay there, but she'll go visit. So it's you have to speak an adult to a kid, even though you go to their level, and not do anything that would, I guess, hurt them. But she went around and she hugged and she was kiss to everybody. And so she did it just because her dad told her to. And it's easy. It's too easy to be mean. It's too easy to be hateful. It's too easy. So one thing that I've always loved is choose the harder right. Choose the harder right in everything you do. And this is just words from one of our church leaders that said that, choose the harder right, because even though it's hard, it's the right way to be. It's the right thing to do, instead of being easy and mean and hurtful and ugly. And that just saying those words just makes my stomach hurt, because I don't want to be that way, and I don't want my kids to see me that way. I have a 22-year-old daughter that has watched me through all of this, and is my best supporter because of everything she says about me, that I just, you just go and be and do what you're supposed to do and live your life and be positive. And somebody somewhere is looking.
Mhm.
You have to always remember that. Not that it matters what they see. What matters is what your kids see. My kids need to see me nice. My kids need to see me happy. My kids need to see me. And that's the whole bow on this story, is that God wanted me to be happy. And even though I have those moments of being sad or triggers or being mad or whatever, it's a moment. I used to have this thing. I was be like, okay, 10-second pity party. Okay, ready, set, go. I think it's from a movie. And so I'm like, okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let it go. And that's how I try to be. I seriously, when I start, because time is precious. Can you imagine being angry for these many days, years, months, your life, being angry about something? When you shouldn't, you should just let it go and just like pray about it and give it to God and just let it go. And it honestly works. When I prayed and say, please, I don't want to feel like this anymore, and I'd be crying, the second I open my eyes, it's good.
Mhm.
And one thing that I really wanted to mention about um, this whole thing is that you have to go through it. And one thing one of our brothers said, not Marcus, but Keith Frijo. Is that his last name? Frijo? Keith. So Keith told me when they prayed for me at Unity in San Diego, he says, Eileen, you have to go through the fire. Go through the fire. You can't go around it. You can't skip it. You can't bypass it. You have to go through the fire. And now 2 years, that was almost 3 years ago, before the divorce, before everything, when the decision happened, when my world came crashing in front of me over a text that I received. He told me that go through the fire. And as they prayed for me, and this will happen, and prayer isn't like yes, it lasts, but you're going to need it constantly. when I was praying, when they were praying for me, our other brother, Sleepy Eye, said, you know what? I can't see you, Eileen. I can't see you. And the more he prayed, the more I let go and the more I came out of it. He started saying, I see you. I see you, sister. I see you. Come on, keep coming, keep coming. And that's what it feels like when you're in this situation. You're in a dark, dark place. I'm a failure. I hate myself. Why did I do this? My kids don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. Why am I doing this? It's a darkness. And for me, I always described it as being in tires. Like if you're at the bottom of a bunch of tires, I'm at the bottom and you look up and it's just black around you. And when Sleepy Eye said that, he was like, I see you now. Come on, Eileen, keep coming, keep coming. And the more I let go and breathe and let it go and just honestly, physically push whatever I was feeling out, the better I felt. But some people don't want to do that. They want to hold on to that hurt. They want to hold on to that pain and hold on to that, why me, that they don't want to let go and go through the fire and be at the other side. And for me, I believe I'm on the other side now, because when I look at my journal and read about what I was going through, that's not me anymore. That's the great thing about journaling, the writing. And I just started writing again yesterday because of amazing things that are happening right now. I started writing again. But when I wrote these things in this book, I look at it now. When I looked at it before we started talking, I'm just like, wow, that was a different person.
Yeah.
A
And so you
total different
see the
person.
growth, right? You can see the growth. And
Yes.
sometimes like journaling helps us to be able to see where we were and where we're going.
Mhm.
And just to stay focused on the good, and to find people in your life that you can pray with, and that will pray for you. Prayer is powerful, and prayer can
Powerful.
get you through so many things in life. And
He prayed for me in Oklahoma. We had that prayer in Oklahoma, and my dad was transitioning. He was going to the next life, and he hadn't gone yet. But honestly, when you prayed for me and everything, you knew my story. You know you know what I'm going through. Everything you said in that prayer, when I closed my eyes, I saw my dad smiling, 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 and I knew we were okay. We were good. And that's the power of prayer, in a how many states away I could feel my dad. And that's how powerful prayer is.
mhm, yeah. And it is. And so we and that's why we do these power hours. Like this is the 60th week of power hours. And
I've
so
seen a
we
bunch of them. They're so good.
yeah, and we do these to just help people. That's our only purpose. We didn't have any money, we didn't have any funding to do it, but we just did it out of love. And that's what I appreciate so much about the Native Wellness Institute, is that what we do in love. And I know many of you are watching, and today I just want all of our energy and all of our love to go to our director Jolene is in Alaska right now, and they're burying the father of her children, and so her children are hurting. Jolene is hurting. And that's where we just as people, as humans, we just need to pray for people. So today, I just want to take a minute and pray for Jolene and Shailene and Traven and Tristan and Shady and Fred and Laura and all of the Joseph family. I just ask the Creator will be with them and guide them, and just wrap his arms around them. And I'm so grateful today, Creator, that my sister came on to this power hour and she was able to share with so many people about her struggles and how prayer and faith has been able to uplift her and guide her. And so I'm just grateful and thankful to you, Colin Soon, Creator, and just ask that you continue to be with us. So um Lean Lunch, thank you everybody for watching. Eileen, is there any last minute words that you want to say or share with everybody as we get ready to close up this power hour?
First, LoVina, I love you. I've always looked up to you. And I remember when you ran for president, I was there. And I remember so many memories of you making me cry the way you spoke. And to have you ask me to do this was such an honor. And honestly, I was terribly nervous before this, but our energies fit. And that's what's the greatest thing about our circle, is that we we need people like this. And I encourage anyone who's watching to find your circle, find your people that you trust, because it's the bond that could last a lifetime. And you know, me and LoVina met when we were teenagers, and we have come to grow and learn from each other. As far as relationships and love and anything that you want for you, know who you are, know your worth, accept it, embrace it, believe it that you are worth the best. And, you know, when we come to accept and realize our gifts and who we are, there's no one that should push it away. There is no one that you should put in the place of who you really are meant to be. Because in everything, I know I was placed upon this earth for a purpose. And I'm still finding that purpose. And as I grow and I share and I talk and I speak, I know that I have abilities that I pushed away. And
Mm.
I'm sad that I did that because I shouldn't have. I should have embraced it and kept going with it because this is who I am. I'm not acting, I'm not anything different. If you were to meet me in person, this is exactly how I am. And I want people, especially women, to embrace who you are. Find your gifts, find your love, find your what makes you happy, and embrace it and take it and love it and just make it grow. Because when you find that other person that will see all of that in you, the connection will be there. And I see it with LoVina and her current husband, a current with her husband now, that they mesh together perfectly because he was there when they prayed for me and I felt it, the love that they have for one another. And that's what I hope for. I hope for love, and I hope for not to be lonely. I pray for my kids to have a wonderful example of a father and a man in their life. So I'm not saying I'm going to be single forever. I'm looking for someone that deserves me, because that's how you have to look at it. Does this person deserve who I am and what I have to offer in this life? So,
Mm.
Ahia, Ashok, I love you.
I love you too. Limlam and Chaspaus Talichas. Thank you from my heart for listening, everybody, for joining us today. We send you love and light, and I send love and light to you, Eileen, and all your babies, and all of our family and friends.
Love you,
Oh,
family. Love you guys.